The following is an exclusive presentation of WI Garden Media, the voice of Garden Talk Radio. The world of seeds, Holly. There's a lot of different terminology that's out there, and it can be very confusing for many people, advanced and intermediate and beginners.
Absolutely. And there's also, I think, just a lot of misinformation in general, or people relying on other people who might not have the best information or most accurate information. So let's start with the first one, organic, and you'll see this a lot of times, especially if you're in your garden center. You'll see the regular seeds, and then you'll see the organic seeds, and it says certified USDA organic or certified organic, what have you.
Not just a sticker.
Not just a sticker. So organic seeds can be any combination of seed that was grown under organic conditions and certified by usually USDA. And that's pretty much it. I shouldn't say that's it. It's not like it's an easy process for gardeners.
A lot of paperwork, a lot of certification that's required to get these seeds to be able to be labeled that.
But it doesn't mean that they're any better or worse than any other seeds. It's just basically a certification.
Yeah, it's kind of it's a very broad, generic comparison. It's like making cake with the really high brand flour versus the El Cheapo flour.
No.
No.
But like most people, if they're going to make a cake and they want it to be the best cake, they're going to use something like cake flour.
Right.
But
now, certified organic, these seeds, as you said, have been monitored basically by the Department of the USDA, United States Department of Agriculture, and for people whom are growing plants, in order to save with this certification, the fields have to be a certain proper. They have to get soil tests, make sure there's no chemicals there. Even if the farmer or gardener uses a liquid inorganic fertilizer or plant food that many people use, that's a miracle and it's green or pink or blue, that can throw it off and it's no longer certified. So specific feedings or fertilizers also have to be certified in order for it to be all goody-goody.
All organic, yeah, absolutely. And that's something to keep in mind when you're seeing that buzzword organic.
Right.
So then there's the heirloom variety. And the heirloom variety just basically means that it is the original cultivator. A lot of times, like when people think about heirloom, they think about a family heirloom. Here's this vase.
The oldie but goodie.
The oldie but goodie, passed down by generation to generation. Sometimes you might not even see heirloom seeds at the store because they are passed down from family to family. And one of the biggest ones like that is tomatoes. Right.
Brandywines are a very popular heirloom. Mortgage Lifter is another one that's very popular. I'm not sure if Black Prim is, but...
I'm not sure either, but with like leeks, it's the
American
flag leek. Yep. So you'll find...
Tried and true.
You'll find heirloom varieties in pretty much any seed, but you might not find them at the store. You can tell the tomatoes that are heirloom variety typically don't look like that super round, pretty shiny red tomato. They're a little bit more, I don't know, earthy looking.
Natural
looking, yes. I guess.
Not so conformed to the requirements that look pretty on the shelf. They don't look pretty on the shelf because they have multiple different contortions, and they taste better because of that.
Absolutely. And sometimes, like, if you see cooking shows, they'll say, like, these are heirloom tomatoes. If you want, like, a good visual.
Just Google.
Yeah. I mean, just Google, but maybe you've heard it before. So then we have we'll move on to the GMO.
Well, let's go. Yeah, okay. GMO, genetically modified organisms. This is seeds in which have been altered in a laboratory to get specific traits into the seed. Now, these seeds you're not going to get from your garden center, from your big box store, nothing like that. Genetically modified seeds. There are some in the vegetable and fruit world. However, the predominant amount of them is in the big ag industry. The wheat, soybeans, milo, canola, corn, all of these things are genetically modified. They are modified in order to handle, the basis of this is to handle the harsh chemicals which are sprayed on the fields in order to kill everything but the plant they're growing. corn, for example. You got hybrid GMO corn. The corn DNA has been altered to handle the harsh weed-killing chemical that is sprayed to kill everything but the plant that you're growing. Now, many people do not like genetically modified or want to eat genetically modified. My opinion, which is not certified at all, it's just my opinion, it's not that the corn is bad to eat. It is the chemicals that have been sprayed on the corn that the corn has been altered to accept and not die from, because a normal heirloom corn, you spray the round chemical on it, it will die within, a couple of hours. But this other stuff in the fields, they're spraying harsh stuff all the time, and they have to intensify the chemical makeup of it because the weeds are becoming super weeds, so they have to up the potency, and then they have to alter the DNA of these seeds in order to handle the more stronger strain of chemical that they're spraying on the weeds.
Right.
But you're not going to buy this in the garden center. You're not going to buy this big box store. These are companies that farmers have to sign contracts with in order not to save the seeds and rebuy each year. So don't worry about it in your backyard.
Right. That's the thing is I just wanted to hit on was that these GMO seeds are not available to an average consumer. There has to be, like Joey said, a whole contract, it's a whole thing.
And you might get a strain that flies in on corn because it's 5 miles away. But your tomatoes, your peppers, you're not going to have this. You're not purposely going to be able to buy any of this stuff, the genetically modified stuff. Hybrid, on the other hand, is not a genetic modification, but some people may interpret it as being because it's hybrid.
Okay, yep. So hybrid is when a botanist, for example, takes two favorable plants and then grows that plant basically with science, using their science to create the more favorable plant. So say, for example, we'll just use tomatoes here because that's a good example. Something like the early girl variety, they use the drought resistant, I believe, and then a fast growing variety tomato to create that early girl variety. And so this way you get a good
best of both worlds. If you are new to gardening, a lot of new gardeners like hybrids because they are easy to grow. More disease resistant as well.
They are more disease resistant, yep. And there's nothing wrong with using hybrid varieties. But if you do save the seeds from hybrid varieties, they will default back to one of the
you're still going to get the variety.
You'll still get a tomato. Like, you're not going to get a cucumber. But it's going to default back to the parent. So one of the parents. So, like, say, like an early girl, for example, you might get a different type of tomato, but not the early girl tomato.
So in the hybrid world, Holly, we see then on some packages F1, F2, F3, F4. What? Obviously, that's not a gnome to Formula One racing, because F1 is Formula One. It's a bad joke that you don't get because you don't follow European racing. What does
I get your joke.
You get the jokes. Okay. What does these numbers and letters represent on a seed packet if it's not a GMO, but it's a form of an offshoot of a hybrid?
Right. So F1 is basically like the first hybrid variety.
Okay.
And then F2 is the second hybrid variety.
But it's still not good to save those seeds.
No.
Because they are classified hybrid.
And it doesn't happen as much with like garden plants.
Mm-hmm.
It happens more with hemp growing and
the strains in which they're creating.
Yep.
And that's a whole nother conversation.
Right.
And many states are legal in that, and there's a whole business outlook and trajectory on that as well. So if you've got your seeds or you need seeds, if you need more seeds, you can go to jungseeds.com and use coupon code 10TG23 to save 10% off your order at jungseeds.com. That is 10TG23. You can find all of the coupons that our sponsors provide at our parent website, the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com, underneath the Money tab at the top of the page, just like Walton's Incorporated has provided for you.
Yeah, Walton's. We brought to you today by our sponsor, Walton's. We know you care about where your food comes from. Canning and preserving your fruits and vegetables is great. But what about the meat? At Walton's, you can get the equipment, seasoning, and supplies to make sausage, jerky, and any other meat product your way to your high standards. Do you want to make snack sticks that people will actually like? Walton's created meat waltonslogistics.com, an informational site to help you make the best finished product. Walton's even has a full line of their meat grinders, mixers, and sausage stuffers to help you go from animal to edible. Walton's, everything but the meat. You can use code GROW50, GROW50, to save 10% off your order of $50 or more. For more information, please visit thewisconsinvegetablegardener.com.